Hello, my name's Aviva, and today I wanted to share with you a bunch of books that I have slowly gotten over the summer. I technically haven't really made a book haul this entire summer, yet somehow I kind of have made two. So I do have a lot of books to share with you, but also like not really that many. Basically, when I went to Book Bonanza, I ended up vlogging it for you guys. So I made a book haul in that video. Like as I was collecting the books like throughout the weekend, I ended up just sharing with you the books that I got. So like that was basically a book haul in itself. And then I think it was like, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, I ended up making a video like of come book shopping with me. So that was literally a book haul in itself because I showed you the books that I was going to be getting, and I ended up getting all of them, but basically like I don't need to re-show that to you. So today I basically wanted to show you all of the books that I've kind of gotten outside of those two videos slowly over the past 2 months or so. And happens to be last week I did end up going book shopping again. Like right after I did that come book shopping with me video, I ended up doing like a part 2 to that all by myself. So today I basically wanted to show you all of the books that I got then, which was literally like a couple of days ago, and then we'll go through all of the other random books that I've slowly collected over the past 2 months. So I feel like I ended up making that sound way more confusing than it had to be, but basically I have a lot of books that I recently gotten that I wanted to share with you today, and that is what we're going to be doing. So either way, with that said, if you did see my come book shopping with me video, then you know that I had recently gotten this book called Protecting You by Kara Kinsley, and I had said that if I liked that first book, then I'm going to go and get myself the rest of the companion series. And it happens to be right when I received that book, I ended up reading it and I ended up really enjoying it. So I went and got myself the rest of the series. So in my hands, I'm holding books 2 to 6 in the Bailey Brothers companion series, and happens to be I have already read book 2 and book 3. I basically read them like right when I got them because I read book 1 and I really enjoyed it, but that one kind of ends up on a cliffhanger, and that couple's story basically like ends in book 2. So as I was reading book 1, I bought myself book 2, and then I really enjoyed it. So when I finished book 2, I went and got myself the rest of this series, and then the second that it showed up, I ended up reading book 3, and I did enjoy it. Definitely not as much as, you know, the first couple that we met, but basically I still really enjoy the vibes of the series, like the brothers in general and everything like that. So I am very excited to read the next 3 books in the series. I don't know when I'm going to get to them because I kind of want to like space them out a bit, but either way, I now officially do own the entire Bailey Brothers companion series, and I'm very excited to be adding them to my library. So yeah, that is that. And then it happens to be, I also did get this book that I was considering getting in that come book shopping with me video, and that book is Flaws by Elsie Silver. So happens to be in that video, I ended up getting a different book by this author that I just wanted to read first. But after I bought that book and then I read it, I basically decided that now I want to get this one. So that is what I did. All I really know about this book is that you are following some sort of professional bull rider, and it is the first book in one of her new series, the Chestnut Spring series. So I do know that the second book is going to be coming out soon. So I am very excited to get to this one so that I can get myself excited for the second one, because I am generally a really big fan of this author's writing. Happens to be, I do think that I might end up reading this book today. Today's Tuesday, and this video is going up tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday. So by the time that you're watching it, I might have already finished reading this book. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you probably already saw my review for it. But hopefully I ended up liking it, because I am at this very moment very excited to go and read this. But either way, if you did want to see what I ended up thinking about this book, then just check my Instagram. But hopefully it will end up being good. But either way, yeah, I did recently get this one. And then I also recently got this book called Blind Side by Candy Steiner, which I have been wanting to get for a very long time, but I wasn't letting myself get it until I read the first book in this companion series called Fair Catch, which I had already owned before this book came out. And I finally read that one. So I basically rewarded myself by getting myself this one, even though it was $20, and I'm so freaking embarrassed that I purchased it, because like that is way too much money to spend on a book. But to be fair, I have heard really amazing things, and I really did want to get this book for a very long time. So we're going to forget about how much money I spent on it, and we're just going to hope that it ends up being really good. All I know about it is that it's some sort of like fake dating scenario, and I think that the main girl is like a virgin or something like that. But either way, I've heard amazing things. So really, hopefully it will be good, because I spent enough money on it. But either way, yeah, Blind Side by Candy Steiner. Anyway, after that, I also ended up getting this book called Ride by Harper Dallas. So this is the first book in some sort of a series of sorts, and happens to be in my come book shopping to me video. I wanted to get this book, but I kind of decided not to, because I did think that it was some sort of duet, like, you know, this couple's story ends in like a different book, and I wasn't so down for like not a standalone at that moment. And then somebody actually commented saying that like this book actually is technically a standalone, and the second book you're following involving a different couple. And that was all I really needed to hear to want, like, to basically make myself purchase this book. So the second that I saw that comment, I ended up buying this one for myself because I've been really excited to read this book for a very long time. I haven't seen it around a lot at all. Like, literally maybe have seen like 2 or 3 people talk about it ever, but those 2 or 3 people have said really good things. And all I do know about the book is that it's some sort of like snowboarding romance. Like, the main guy is a snowboarder, and I think the main girl might be his photographer. I don't really know. But either way, I'm a really big snowboarder. Like, in real life, me and my husband love snowboarding. So I'm a really big fan of like reading that type of vibe. So I'm very, very excited to read this book. Hopefully it will be good. But either way, after this, I also very randomly got this book called Down Too Deep by J. Daniels. So I happen to have gotten this book like a while ago, and I just like have not read it yet. I saw it on sale, maybe like $3, $4, and I had seen one person tell me something good about this book. So once I saw it on sale, I'm like, you know what, why don't I give it a shot? All I really know about it is that I'm pretty sure you're following 2 single parents. So kind of like, yours, mine, and ours vibes. I don't really know too much about it, but I had asked at one point for people to give me like recommendations where like both people in the book is like, single parents. And I don't think I've ever read a book like that before. And then somebody had mentioned this one, and then I looked it up on GOODREADS and I saw that it had pretty solid reviews. So I basically like very blindly got it. I haven't really seen anything about it besides for that one person who put it on my radar. But basically, I do now own it, and hopefully I will read it soon, and hopefully it will be good. But either way, after this, I also ended up getting this book called Catching Caden by Samantha Christie. So this book actually has a funny story, because when I was at Book Bonanza, somebody had recommended me this book because this author was there, and I never read anything by this author. And the thing is that I have seen this book around a lot, but I never kind of really wanted to get it for myself because I really didn't like the cover that was available on Amazon, which is not this cover. And either way, at like the end of the event, I was kind of like walking by, just like looking at random people's booths, and I passed by this author's booth and she wasn't busy. So I kind of just like went over to her and was like, hey, by any chance, do you have like the old covers, which is this cover, of, this book basically? And she's like, you know what? I don't have it on me, but I do have some at home and I could send one to you. So I basically like purchased it at her booth, and then like once we all got home, she sent it to me a couple of weeks later. So that is kind of like why I now own this book. I have seen mixed things about it, which I'm not so like excited for. Like, I have seen a couple of things that I'm very worried will make me not really enjoy this book, but I think that it's some sort of like baseball romance. I really don't know like the dynamics of it whatsoever. But either way, this was kind of like one of those impulse buys. Like, you're in the store and it's like it's right in front of you and you have the option, so you just don't think about it too much. You're just like, okay, yeah, sure, take my money. So that was kind of the situation with this book. It was like, if I was going to order it online and I had the option to like get this cover online, I still don't know if I would have like purchased it myself, but because the author was in front of me, I kind of just decided to go for it. So I now own this book, and hopefully I will read it soon. So yeah, Catching Caden by Samantha Christie. But either way, after that, another book that I got, which is kind of like, it's 4 books in a series. Basically, this series by Kelly Elliott. It's the Mimi in Montana series. So I think this is book 1, 2, 3, 4. Either way, this has a funny story too, because when I was at the Book Bonanza event, a lot of people were actually recommending me this book. Like, I was hanging out with some people who were really big fans of this author. And basically, I wanted to get myself the first book in the series, which was Never Enough. And I had gone to the author's booth and I asked her, I was like, oh, can I purchase this book like at your booth? And she's like, actually, I don't have this book specifically available like at my booth. You have to go upstairs to like, the store that like, they kind of had like this half price bookstore where it's like, I don't know what the, the publisher is, but like, I don't know, this publisher source, they had all of those books available upstairs, and then you could go down and like get it signed by the author. And either way, this was one of the books that were, regularly published or whatever. So she didn't have it available at her booth. So I kind of went upstairs to try and find it, and I couldn't find it. Like, I think that they just sold out of this book by then because it was like the end of the event. So I went back to her and I'm like, oh, I just wanted to tell you, like, I went upstairs and it wasn't available, but like, maybe I'm going to order it online. But either way, it was nice to meet you. And she's like, you know what? Give me your address and I'll just send it to you. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, you don't have to do that. Like, I just like, it was nice to meet you. And either way, she ended up taking my address and all my information, and she followed me on Instagram and everything like that. And then she ended up sending me literally the entire series. So it was like the sweetest thing that ever happened to me, because like that just doesn't happen in real life, but either way, she was absolutely absolutely amazing. And it was so freaking sweet to like, you know, get these books a couple of days after I ended up arriving home. So I happen to have already read the first book in the series. I read it a while ago. I kind of like read it right when I got it. And unfortunately, I didn't really love it because there was a couple of things about the book that just like didn't personally work for me, like a couple of tropes that weren't up my vibe. But it happens to be, I really liked the writing style and I liked the vibe of the story. So I definitely do plan on continuing reading the rest of the series. I just don't know when I'm going to actually get to them. But either way, I'm very happy and grateful to be adding these to my library. So thank you so much to Kelly Elliott for sending these to me. So yeah, that is the story behind those. And then either way, the rest of the books I'm going to be sharing with you are a bunch of like gifted books that I didn't actually like purchase myself, but I have slowly gone over, you know, the summer. But either way, first up, I have Drive by Kate Stewart. So this was sent to me by one of my Instagram followers, Christina. And either way, I was so freaking grateful for when she did send this to me because I was in a really horrible reading slump, like in the moment that I ended up like, you know, getting this book. And I ended up just like picking it up right away because she's like, oh, I really think that it's going to help you, everything like that. And it ended up really, really helping me. So I am so freaking grateful to Christina for sending this to me. So thank you so freaking much. I ended up really, really, really loving this book. And what's funny is that I don't think that I would have purchased it for myself like anytime soon. Like I was having very mixed feelings towards it. And I'm just really happy that you got it for me because I don't know if I would have ever read it like without that push. So either way, thank you for this. But anyway, after that, I also got 4 books gifted to me by my father. So thank you so much, my father, for gifting me these books. I don't know if you're watching this, but if you are, then thank you again, even though I texted you already. But anyway, he had slowly over the summer sent me these 4 books. So he sent me Funny Feeling by Tara Dewitt. Then he sent me Here With Me by Samantha Young. He also sent me Priceless by Miranda Silver, which is a freaking massive book, by the way. Like, why does a book have to be this big? Do you see this? Do you see how like ugly big this is? But either way, yeah. And then also I think it was like last week, he sent me this book called To Love a Jason Thorne by Ella May. So either way, let me explain these books. So first of all, I have already read this book and unfortunately I didn't like it, but I did get it and I never really told you guys that I got it. So I had to share it with you in this video. And then same for this one, I have already read this book and actually I really did enjoy this one. So either way, didn't like this one, but did like this one. So thanks to my dad for sending these to me. And then happens to be I have not read these 2. So this one he did send to me a very long time ago and for some odd reason I just haven't picked it up yet. I don't know too much about it, but I do think that it's something about like this guy's gonna end up paying her to have sex with him. So that doesn't sound too great, but I mean, it sounds fun for a book, but like, not in real life. But either way, yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but hopefully it will be good because the one person that did recommend it to me said amazing things that obviously made me want to add it to my wish list. So yeah, that's that. Hopefully I will end up getting to this one soon. But either way, after that, he also did recently send me To Love Jason Thorne. So happens to be, I got this book, I don't know, like last week. And then somebody that I follow on Instagram that I'm like pretty good friends with, she ended up deciding to read this book. And then she didn't say too good things about it. And I ended up talking to her about this one. And for some odd reason, I'm thinking about maybe returning this one and getting something else because like, I know my dad doesn't care. He just like wants to get me a book. So like, I don't think it's a big deal if I end up, exchanging this for something else because I'm having very iffy feelings about this one and I don't know if I'm going to end up loving it, but like I didn't really purchase it for myself. Like it was just on my wish list and then it ended up coming off of my wish list and now I have it in my hand and I'm very grateful for that, but I have a feeling that I might not end up keeping this one, but we will see. Either way, after this, I also was gifted this book called 50 Shades of Grey by E.L. James. So this is a very famous book and the only reason why I have this like special edition of it is because I was doing something for like the Storygram tours where it's like I posted this book and like, in exchange, I got a free book basically. So basically, I don't really ever plan on reading this, but I am adding it to my collection and it is a pretty cool like version of it. It's like, the special edition. I don't know, is it like a 10-year anniversary or something like that? I don't really know, but either way, I now own this book. So that is that. And then after that, I just wanted to share with you a couple of arcs that I have gotten slowly over the summer. So first up is I Can Fix That by Julianne Smith. So I really don't know much about this, but it seems like a very good, quick, short read and happens to be, I have seen a couple of people review this book already and they have said good things. So maybe I will end up picking it up soon. Who the hell knows? But either way, thank you so much to the author for sending this to me because I'm very happy to add it to my collection. And then happens to be, I also recently got this book book called Fire of the Fox by Silver Michaela, and I had I was doing like a giveaway with her on my Instagram page for this book, so that's kind of like why she sent me like a copy of it and everything like that. But I have not read it yet, and I do think that it's some sort of like fantasy romance. I don't know too much about it. I think it's something with like fae and magic and like, a centuries long war. So sounds pretty solid, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But either way, I am very happy to add it to my library. So thank you so much to this author for sending me a copy of your book. And then happens to be, I also recently got this arc of A Land of Never and Night by Lily Archer. So this was again sent to me by the author, and I have not read it yet, but I know that it is some sort of Peter Pan retelling. So I'm a huge fan of Peter Pan, so maybe I will get to this eventually. But either way, very excited to add it to my library. And then the last book that I wanted to share with you is 1001 Dark Nights by Kennedy Ryan. So I don't know too much about this book. This was like, sent to me unsolicited by the publisher. And I know that this is some sort of like collection of novellas, and like different authors write different 1001 Dark Nights of sorts. Like I honestly I know nothing about this. I didn't really ask for the book. They just sent it to me. And either way, I got it in the mail like a couple of days ago. So I'm now adding it to my library, but I have to do a little bit more research into it before I actually decide to read it or not. But either way, that is it. That is all the books that I have slowly collected over the past couple of months that I have not officially shared with you in a book haul when I've made other book hauls this summer. So either way, with that said, let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought about them, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. But if you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you are not currently subscribed. And either way, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video, because I really do appreciate it. And with that said, until next time, enjoy reading.